How is it going, everybody? My name is JustJarrod, but you guys can just call me Jared, and welcome back to another 5 random No Man's Sky tips video. So in this one, once again, just like the last one, I'm giving you guys 5 random No Man's Sky tips that hopefully will help you out when you're playing. Some of these are for more beginner players, and some of these are, for people who have been playing the game a long time, but generally they're for everybody because they are some weird, strange tips that don't really fit in one video, so that's why they're in this random 5 facts of tip video thing that I'm making. So anyways, let's get started into those 5 tips. So, if you did not know, when you go into Atlas stations and you land your ship and you get out, if you look around on the floor, there's a bunch of white glowing lights. Make sure you walk over every single one of those glowing lights because they all have a chance to give you words of alien NPC races. So each time you walk over one, you can learn a new word. Especially, Atlas stations, once you get down the Atlas path, there's like 30 and 40 of the lights. That's tons of words. So make sure you're walking over those lights because they actually help you out with alien languages. It's kind of not obvious, they just look like lights, so you could easily miss it, but make sure you're actually doing that because it is a thing. Now let's say you just found a new ship or a new multi-tool that you want to actually trade your old one for the new one, or if you're buying a new one, whichever the case may be, make sure you break down your upgrades in your old multi-tool or your old ship before you buy a new ship, because you can't transfer upgrades across, you can only transfer inventory across. So if you've got like a bunch of warp drives, warp reactors in your ship, you've got like cyclotron ballista upgrades or rocket launcher upgrades, and you're about to get this new ship, make sure you break down, dismantle all your upgrades that you've installed on your current ship. That'll at least give you the materials or some of the materials that you had to actually craft that upgrade, then move all that inventory over to your new ship. Because if you just buy that new ship and transfer your inventory over, yeah, you'll have your inventory, but all the upgrades are just going to stay on that ship that you just gave away to a random alien NPC. So on your multi-tool or on your ship, make sure you break down the upgrades you have installed, so that way when you get your new ship, you have at least some of them to reinstall again on your new ship or new gun. Now another ship tip, funny, if you actually trade for a new ship, let's say you're at a space station and you trade for a new ship and then you're like, you know what, this was a mistake. In the game now, they've incorporated a system, instead of just reloading your save, which is always possible. If you get a ship, you trade for it, and you actually, decide that you don't want to do that, you can just go back and interact with the ship that you had previously. It will still be there in the space station until you leave it, until you leave the space station, that is. So if you decided, no, this ship's not the right one, I shouldn't have done it, just go interact with your ship, because it'll still be there, and you'll have the option to just take it back. So don't worry and don't fret if you screw it up. You always have the option to take your previous ship back as long as you don't leave the space station. Now moving on to tip number 3. If you guys are looking for exotic planets, with the addition of 1.3, the new update, exotic planets are a thing. I do believe there are 6 different exotic planets. I might be wrong. I know I've found 6 and haven't heard of any new ones or any different ones. If you're looking for them or you just want to experience them yourself because they are cool, the audio and the visuals is just fantastic. If you're looking for them yourself, the best or the most obvious way to know where an exotic planet is seems to be by the description of the planet when you scan it from space. So almost every exotic planet I've found, when you scan it from space, it'll say life incompatible planet. So life incompatible planets, almost all the time, I'm willing to bet a good like 70% of the time, life incompatible planets are exotic planets, because every one I've been to that has been exotic has said life incompatible except for one. So if you're looking for those and you don't want to go from planet to planet checking, just scan it. If it says life incompatible, make sure you go down and check. Now for tip number 4. Kelp sacks. Kelp sacks are the plants that you can mine from underwater. They only spawn underwater, and sometimes they're really hard to find and really hard to see. If you need kelp sacks, just wait until night on a planet or go to the other side of the planet where it's dark to look for them, because they light up underwater and it's easier to see them at night because it's obviously dark and the plant lights up. You'll be able to find them a lot better. Just watch out for huge underwater sea creatures because they will attack you, and at night you won't see them coming. And last but not least, tip number 5, you can always find crashed ships of ships you see in the system. Now it's kind of confusing, but let's say you're in a system and you see a ship flying by that you really want. If you don't have the units to necessarily go out and buy that ship right now, because you can follow the ships to where they land, then, you know, opt in to buy them when you can interact with them. If you don't have the entire millions and millions of units to buy said ship, you can go from transmission tower to transmission tower, you know, doing the terminal and getting crashed ship locations, then going to the location of the crashed ship. Every ship that is in the system you are currently in has the opportunity to be a ship that is crashed. So if you find a ship that you really like, it's an exotic ship, and you see it flying, you can find that ship in that system crashed on a planet, no matter what the ship is. So that's another way to find ships. If you're looking at one and you see it and you like it, but you can't, you know, downright just buy it right off the bat, you can try to look for crashed ship locations, and maybe you'll get lucky and find the one that you're looking for. That way you don't have to pay a bunch of units down, you know, right at the bat. You might have to, you know, fix a few slots, which will probably take a bunch of money, but that's an overtime thing that you can do over time. You don't have to just, you know, give out tons of units all at once. But anyways, guys, that is it for 5 random No Man's Sky tips. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope some of it helped you guys. But if you did enjoy it, make sure to give it a thumbs up for me. Subscribe for more No Man's Sky news, gameplay, tips, and coverage. My name has been JustJarrod. Until next time, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Peace out.